and thank you for joining us on The Spin Room. I'm your host, Ami Kaufman. Today we are joined by Israeli Coalition Member of Parliament, Merav Ben-Ari of the Kulanu Party. Merav, thank you for coming on the show today.
Thank you for having me.
In studio to partake in the discussion today are veteran columnist at Haaretz, Gidon Levy, and senior editor at honestreporting.com, Daniel Pomers. Good to see you both again.
Thank you.
Our three topics of discussion today with Knesset member Ben-Ari are the story that is dominating Israeli media today, IDF soldiers' response to being slapped in the face by Palestinian teenagers who were later arrested. We'll then move on to the aftermath of the Trump administration's decision to recognize Jerusalem as Israel's capital, and end our discussion with a focus on Ben-Ari's party, Kulanu, and domestic issues. Okay, let's start with our first topic, the West Bank. On Friday, images filmed in the village of Nabe Saleh showed 16-year-old Ahed Tamimi slapping an IDF soldier in the face who did not respond. Soldiers did not respond. The video went viral, which drew both appraisal and condemnation from Israeli politicians for allegedly showing too much restraint. Tamimi herself was later arrested at 4 a.m. last night. Merav, you actually responded about this today on Twitter this morning. We're going to show the tweet that you wrote, and we translated it. You said, "I don't expect soldiers to hit the two rioters. I would have expected them to arrest the wretches on the spot. In no army in the world is it accepted for civil population to come in that close contact with the soldiers. Just for us, everything is legitimate and everything goes anyway. We should be giving the soldiers a medal." So on the one hand, I'm a bit confused, because on the one hand you say they should get a medal, but on the other hand they should have arrested them. Maybe the source of your confusion, Merav, is that you put the army deep inside the civilian population.
This is the situation now in the state of Israel, and we have to deal with the situation now. The soldiers are a part of the civil society, and we have to understand that there is a conflict in the state of Israel. Now, the situation that 16 years old that already got a medal from the, you know that she already got a medal from Turkey. Yeah, from Turkey. For the Turkish state, for all their provocation against the Israeli IDF. And I think that this girl, when she did the action against the soldiers, she was supposed to arrest in the same day. I understand that they took her only.
Was it a bit odd that she was arrested 3 days later and after only the video surfaced? What do you think of that?
I think that she should be arrested in the same day that she did the action. We can't approve or can't make the situation legitimate when a 16 years old attacked Israeli soldier, slapped him in the face, and what very strange in my point of view that we wait 3 days and took her at 4 o'clock in the morning. She should be arrested in the same place after the situation happened.
Gidon, should they have deserved a medal, as Merav Ben-Ari said?
This whole way of describing reality. I mean, the provocation is the girl who slaps the soldier. No, the provocation is the soldier who is in the middle of a village. That's the real provocation. And that's a real crime. Yeah? And how many soldiers had slapped the teenagers, Palestinian teenagers? Just a second. As long as the occupation army will be within villages, there will be resistance, violent resistance, justified resistance.
And we should arrest everyone that do it. We should arrest him.
We can arrest the entire Palestinian people,
if we need to.
And we will lose this battle because no criminal occupier.
If only Israel would just, I don't know, make some offer to leave and to create an independent Palestinian state. If only they would do that once. Like they did in 2000 and 2001 and 2008 and 1995 and 1993 and 1947 and 1937.
All jokes.
They have a state, but we still have terror attack. Yes, we can see it, you know, in Jenin, in Ramallah.
Have you been there?
I've been in Ramallah.
Okay. Ramallah is not a Ramallah is a
autonomy.
Okay.
And autonomy. Right. But we still get terror, even though we have the autonomy.
Okay. Real terror are the army.
We have to. Okay. I'm sorry. We have to go for a break. We'll be right back with Israeli Parliament member Merav Ben-Ari. Stick around. We're back on the spin room with Israeli Parliament member Merav Ben Ari. Let's move on to our next topic, the continued fallout from Donald Trump's recognition of Jerusalem as Israel's capital. Merav, since the announcement on Jerusalem, there's been a nonstop drizzle of rockets flying in from Gaza. There's some critique that the Israeli response to that has not been forceful enough to stop this. Where do you stand on that?
I think that, the attack from Gaza is coming every year. It's not just a drip, but it's not about Trump recognition of the Israeli state of the Jerusalem. I think we deal with the Gaza, and I think that we deal with Hamas every year. To say that it's because of Trump, I think it's a bit naive. We know that's happened. We know what's happened in Gaza. We know what's happened in the West Bank.
Yeah.
And they attacked. And it's very funny that they say about Palestine that they have a rage day. This
3 days of rage.
Yeah, so I said, okay, what
it's a holiday.
Have we ever had like a Utopia Day or Vipassana Day? We never had a quiet day from the Palestinian. So okay, we had Trump recognition, but still, I don't see it like this is the motive for the Palestinian to attack the state of Israel.
Gidon, are Palestinians maybe overreacting to basically stating the obvious? I mean, Jerusalem is Israel's capital, isn't it?
It's not about Jerusalem. Gaza is the biggest cage on earth. And the expectation of Member of Parliament Ben Ari that they will sit peacefully and make Vipassana in the cage. Okay, I have news for you. People that you put in a cage.
What
people
cage?
That you
I noticed you said in your column this morning that
Cage,
save it for me. Save it for me.
I don't see any birds,
There's a block
for a
cage.
moment.
But the cage?
No, it's not a
So you
cage.
agree
Cancer patients by hundreds are dying there, and it's not a cage.
And they
Doesn't touch
die
her
because
they're
of the
Palestinians.
Israeli state.
Only because of the siege. Only because of the
They die also because of Hamas.
Guys, I'm happy that you live in peace with yourself and with your government and with your minister. Very good.
People.
The most moral
Daniel,
people
I
in
want
the
you to
world.
weigh in.
Very good for you.
Well,
Go ahead.
what the reaction we're seeing from the Arab world is very superficial. There's something that nobody's talking about in the media. One example is Abdelhamid Hakim. He's a researcher from Saudi Arabia, has the ear of the government and the respect of the people. He said Jerusalem is holy to Jews as Mecca and Medina is to Muslims. Arabs have missed many opportunities for peace. The Palestinians could have already had a capital in Jerusalem many times, and finally he said Arabs must change their culture of hatred toward the Jews. This is a growing voice in Kuwait, Saudi Arabia, Iraq, Sudan, Egypt. It's just below the surface, and we're seeing it emerge more and more.
Merav, do you feel that the call on Jerusalem, Trump's call on Jerusalem, and together with White House officials commenting that saying the Western Wall will most probably be a part of Israel in a future agreement, do you think after both of those carrots, one after the other, that the U.S. can still be considered a neutral mediator?
Yeah, of course. I don't see why not. You see, every year when we have...
Well, the Palestinians, I'll tell you why not, if I could play devil's advocate.
Yeah, because even the Palestinians and the Arabs said that Jerusalem is a state of Israel.
But the Palestinians are saying, hey, you give a carrot, but we don't get anything.
Well, we should clarify something here. The U.S. never claimed to be a neutral mediator. The U.S. claims to be an honest broker.
Okay.
But Israel is a U.S. ally, and the U.S. has never treated its allies the same as people who aren't. That's what ally means.
You know what's funny is that when we see the United, just yesterday, the UN
Security Council.
And we heard about Nikki Haley voting against 14 countries. So it's in one hand, it's okay that US is in favor of us, but in the other, that 14 countries against Israel, it's okay. It's obvious that they will vote against it. So we see it's a bit hypocrite.
Are you happy about that vote yesterday? Was that a result of success?
Happy.
Was that a successful result for Israel?
No, I'm not happy that we have to use the veto.
So are you not worried about that Israel being more isolated? 14 countries go against the United States and Donald Trump. 14 countries in the Security Council. It shows that Israel is isolated, doesn't it?
Fortunately, and in the fortune of the state of Israel, those states are in favor in Israel. We heard about Japan, Ukraine, and we know about the state that they have very good relationship with Israel.
Gidon.
No country on earth supports the occupation. No country on earth recognizes the settlements, including, by the way, not the United States.
So why did she vote if you said that Israel, U.S. is against us?
Because we have now, because the United States is supporting Israel automatically and blindly. Automatically and blindly, and corrupts Israel, by the way.
Nikki Haley before Nikki Haley, we saw that not all the time they use the veto right.
Once in the last days of you know, from time to time it's also good to stick to facts. From time to time, it doesn't bother to know the facts. The fact is that only under Obama, one time they put a veto. All the other times.
When Obama was
we're talking about Jerusalem, which every country in the world chooses its own capital, and it's actually a violation of international law to not allow a country to choose its own capital.
So the Palestinians want also to choose it as their capital on behalf of international law and justice. What is your answer to this?
My answer?
That the Palestinians are not equal human beings, and therefore...
Hang on, before you answer for me. Technically speaking, if the Palestinians choose to place a capital anywhere, it doesn't even necessarily have...
They chose exactly they chose, and they have the very same rights on Jerusalem like you
Daniel,
have.
ask Gideon what is the capital of Israel in his point of view.
What is the capital of Israel?
What is the capital?
Jerusalem, and it is also the capital will be of the Palestinians.
Ah, okay, so we will share together.
It is a shared city.
Okay, so probably
but you have to understand that
and we will share Tel Aviv together because we live so good together.
So will you divide
What's the
Jerusalem in the
difference
future?
between you and the most extreme right-wingers? You know, if you would claim yourself that you are extreme right-winger, I would respect you much more.
Okay.
Because you come on behalf of a central party and you speak like the most racist nationalist.
Racist.
Sure. If you ignore the Palestinians' rights, if you ignore the Palestinians' rights, don't feel so good about yourself.
If he said that he doesn't have nothing to say, you said that you're a racist.
All right, I want to ask you about the Trump. Okay. I want to ask you about the Trump administration's efforts so far to bring peace to the region. Are you confident? Do you have faith in the Trump administration that he will bring the ultimate deal as he promised?
I'm confident in the American, because in the American method, I know that they have some program. I don't know the real program. I know that even the minister and the prime minister doesn't know the real program of Trump, but he has a program. And I think that if we can sit together and speak about, but not from the extreme left or extreme right, we can have something better for the state of Israel. But unfortunately, when we hear those opinions, and he speak about that I'm in extreme, and what about him? Yeah. What about the extreme left of Israel that will never get to peace agreement in Israel?
You want to react quickly to that?
No.
Okay. Daniel, I want to ask you actually if... no, okay. Shouldn't have the Palestinians gotten at least a few carrots from the Trump administration after the announcement of recognizing Jerusalem as Israel's capital?
Well,
can you understand their frustration?
Well, I can understand frustration all around, but you remember that Trump asked the Palestinians to stop funding terror through their Martyrs Fund. They said no. Secretary of State Tillerson asked them. They said yes. And then the President Abbas's spokesperson said in Arabic that he had lied to the Secretary of State and he was going to keep funding them. Jared Kushner sat with the Palestinians and said, you can still keep funding terror, just reduce payments to the very worst offenders. The President Abbas was so angry, he screamed at him. An envoy from the United States president threw him out of his office. And then there were consequences.
Do you have any faith in the Trump administration?
Not at all.
Not at all? Why not?
First of all, because of the personality of Donald Trump. You don't expect this man to do anything for minorities, justice, peace, Palestinians. I mean, you don't expect this seriously. Nobody in the world expects. But besides of this, look at the figures.
Yeah.
Look at the persons who do the mediation with the Kippah, friends of Beit El.
Why? Because he has a Kippah?
Yes,
he doesn't know how to do it.
They're Zionists.
I have to stop. We have to go for a break. We have to go, Merav. We have to go for a quick break. We'll be right back with Israeli Parliament member. I don't know if you heard me, Merav Ben-Ari, over all of this. Stick around. We're back on the spin room with Israeli Parliament member Merav Ben-Ari. Moving on to our next and last topic today, domestic politics here in Israel. Parliament in 3 weeks will take a preliminary vote on the controversial nation-state bill in which Israel's democratic character is given second place to its Jewish character. Kulanu is actually trying to soften this bill, the nation-state bill. But can you tell us in the first place why Israel needs a nation-state bill to begin with?
You have to understand something, that there's many rules or bills or legislation that Kulanu didn't bring to the Knesset, okay? But as a part of the coalition, we sometimes get some bills that we are in favor and sometimes get bills that we are against.
Right.
In this specific law, I think it doesn't change nothing in my point of view. But still, when we got the first draft of the bill. We understand that there is no between the Jewish and the democracy. We don't see the equality of the two states. Right. That's why Kulanu Party insists to change the bill. Now, I think, you know, they always say that Kulanu is the keeper of this coalition. Yeah. And we did it, like, we are going to do it, you know, in the future, and we already did it in the past. Mm-hmm. Hopefully also in this bill, but we actually this week put the suggestions of Kaufman, and even with Benny Begin.
I'll ask you guys the same question. Why does Israel need a nation-state bill?
Well, you know, a lot of people don't realize, we talk about Israel being a Jewish country. Legally speaking, it actually isn't. It's a democratic country that has a lot of Jewish character and a lot of Jewish laws. Mm-hmm. The Muslim world, for example, has 57 nations that are Muslim nations, but only 26 of them are legally considered Muslim nations. Mm-hmm. So it's a common thing. I'm not so sure whether it's necessary. Is it going to pass?
Change the real life in Israel. I think
is it going to pass? Do you think?
We are going to vote about it only if
you don't think it's going to pass?
I don't know if it will pass in this session.
Same question. Why does Israel need a nation-state law?
So it does need, but there is some advantage in it, because I don't think that Israel can have it all. Israel has to choose. Either it's a democracy or it's a Jewish state. It can't be both. And Israel, of this government, makes the choice, and I appreciate it. They make the choice. We are Jewish on much more than democratic. And from now on, we'll know that Israel is not the only democracy in the Middle East. Israel is a Jewish state.
I think it's the first time that he said something that in favor of the
in favor of declaring the truth.
No, I don't agree with him.
But by the end of the day, this is not a democracy.
In favor. He said,
but by the end of the day,
he just said it's not a democracy, though. Obviously, you don't agree with that.
I
appreciate the truth. I always prefer people who say and are not hypocrites like your party.
You think that my party is hypocrite?
Absolutely.
I think that you can't say something first. No.
Let me ask you something about maybe hypocrisy. You know, another issue that has to do with Jewish values.
The most hypocrisy that live in Israel and always speak against Israel. So I think if you don't like to be here, you can always move to another country. Maybe to Abu Dhabi, they will be in favor.
I don't think we want to leave, and I will never ask you about to leave.
I think we're not here to talk about where.
So don't give me tips about hypocrisy.
We're not here to talk about where Gidon should live or should not live. This is not the issue. Another issue that has to do is religious coercion. One bill that has been pushed through is a law that would allow the interior minister to close supermarkets on the Jewish Sabbath outside of Tel Aviv, at least. You voted for the law, even though you opposed it.
Yeah, I think in my point of view, you know, I think that
speaking of hypocrisy,
we should have no. Listen, we should give the opportunity to the. In every city that the mayor will have.
Okay.
But the problem that we are part of the coalition, and I have to choose my side. And although Gidon will say that I'm, from the center,
you have to choose your battles. All right, but do you ever get tired of that political game where you have to compromise and abandon your ideals?
No, you know why? Because I see the thing that we're doing for the country, and we see the thing that you say that you want to speak about domestic issue, which I see that Kulanu Party.
You know what? I'm trying to understand why exactly are you in the coalition? You attacked the prime. You attacked. Let me say. You attacked the coalition. You attacked the prime minister a few months ago when he was attacking the police, and you said on Twitter, the problem is not with the police, it is with you. That was a direct attack on the prime minister. You do not agree with this supermarket law. You do not agree with the recommendation law. You do not with so many things. Why are you in the coalition?
Because it's a good question. You know why? Because we do so many things to the people of Israel. So many things in housing, in the cost of living, and we're the only thing that the media speak about is the recommendation law. It's with the flag or the anthem, but when we see what really influenced the civil and the people, they see why Kulanu.
Daniel, does it ever seem odd to you that Kulanu is in the government, and specifically Merav Ben Ari was a fairly liberal person? I sometimes wonder why you sit with parties like Orthodox parties like Shas and
that every government will sit with the Orthodox. It's only the last government that didn't sit with the Orthodox.
You know, in order to get anything done, sometimes you have to be in the government.
Yeah.
I've got to say, I like it when people stand up for their ideals, but at the same time, if Kulanu is facing a choice between accomplishing things that affect our economic prosperity versus going to the opposition and not accomplishing things...
You can sit in the opposition and shout and say that the situation in Israel is so bad and you can sit in the coalition and do things for the people.
Gidon?
I think the place of Kulanu is in the government. Kulanu is a right-wing party, an extreme right-wing party. The leader is part of the most extreme right-wing coalition that Israel have ever had. They don't raise any alternative voice in any political subject. And therefore, the place is
this
exactly
is what every
there.
morning we do. We think
Exactly
about
there.
how to be more extreme. No, every morning that I'm coming to the Knesset and the people in my party, Kulanu party, the only thing that we see is the public and how to make their life better. I know that in Gideon Levy's eyes, it's only about occupation. I think that the life in Israel is more complicated and there are more issues that we have to deal with them.
You
and they're domestic.
for the supermarket law.
Supermarket is the least of your problem.
I'm afraid
that's the least, and that's the
that is all the time. That's all the time. I'm sorry, guys. That's all the time we have. I'd like to thank our panelists Gideon Levy and Daniel Pomerantz, and a warm thank you to today's guest, Knesset member Merav Ben Ari. Thank you, Merav, for coming on the show. Stick around when we come back. It's time for the social media post that made the news on our weekly segment, Meet the Feed. Don't go anywhere. We are back on the spin room, and it's time for the man who knows Twitter like the back of his smartphone, who reads Facebook like an open tablet. I'm talking, of course, of Zizo Abu Hawa. It's time for Meet the Feed. Good to see you, Zizo.